Good day, viewers. You are welcome to Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. My name is Emmanuel Shion, and I'll be taking you history. Okay. Today, we'll be looking at Christian missionary activities in West Africa. Christian missionary activities in West Africa. I will implore you to listen attentively, because this topic is very sensitive and most often comes out in external examination like WAEC and NECO. So, learning objectives. At the end of this lesson, students will 1. Describe the introduction and spread of Christianity in West Africa. 2. Students will identify the Christian sects that came to West Africa. We'll also look at the notable Christian missionaries that came into West Africa, the difficulties they encountered when they came, and we'll look at the impact of Christian missionary in West Africa. Introduction of and spread of Christianity in West Africa. You will agree with me that Christianity is a religion that Jesus Christ is the leader. The introduction of Christianity in West Africa can be traced back to early European exploration. When the Europeans explored and arrived in the region now known as Nigeria, it can be seen far back as 15th century. And it's also important to also note that the first European nation that arrived in Nigeria at that time were the Portuguese. However, when they came, the attempt to introduce Christianity failed at first. It failed as a result of some reasons that has to do with present-day Ghana and Nigeria. However, later in the 17th century, it was introduced again, and by this time, it was able to succeed. So the significant spread of Christianity in West Africa began in 19th century with the arrival of various missionary organizations, various Christian sects that came from Europe and the United States. They established missions, schools, particularly in major areas like Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigeria, and Cameroon. Their efforts were supported by colonial administration as at that period. The religious sects that came to West Africa. Number 1, we have the Church Missionary Society, CMS. We have the Roman Catholic. We have the African Independent Churches. We have the Society for Propagation of the Gospel. We have the German Basel Mission, Wesleyan Methodist Missionary Society, and majorly the Presbyterian Church of Scotland. So these are the major religious sects that came into West Africa. All right. Notable Christian missionaries that came to West Africa. Number 1, Thomas Bert Freeman, which is of 1809 and died 1890. He was an Anglo-African Wesleyan minister who, one of his achievements, built church in Cape Coast and extending his preachings and building of schools. We also have Mary Slessor, which is popularly known. She's a Scottish missionary in Calabar. That was where she was posted to, where, in fact, as at that time, there were no Europeans that have gotten to Calabar. She was the first European that got there. And also, when she lived there, it was very significant because she brought about diverse changes, which has to do with the abolition of the killing of twins and other practices. We also have Samuel Ajayi Crowther, who was the first African bishop of the Church of England. And you will also, if you recall, he was also the one who translated the Bible into Yoruba. And also we have Henry Towson, who lived from 1815 up to 1886. So he was the first European to enter Abeokuta, present-day Ogun State in Nigeria, and he built his mission over there. So he also published a Yoruba newspaper. In fact, and that is likely to be the first indigenous newspaper. So it was published by Henry Towson, called Iwe Iroyin in 1859. And he also wrote about orphanage home, schools, trade schools, and so on and so forth. Difficulties encountered when the Christian missionaries came to West Africa and Nigeria, to be precise. There were a lot of challenges they faced. Number one, cultural barrier. The culture in European countries is quite different from the culture of Nigeria and West Africa. It's quite different. So they came into a different setting entirely, a setting that they are not used to. So there was cultural barrier because they needed time to actually understand the culture of the people, which brought about difficulties that they faced. But intertribal conflicts. During that period, there were a series of wars that took place. In fact, it is important to note that during the pre-colonial era, before the Britain arrived in Nigeria to colonize Nigeria, all the states, kingdoms, empires that exist as at that time, there was frequent conflict and war. Because they waged war in order to expand their territories. So the missionaries were catch up with lots of wars that affected their work. Also, disease outbreak. Diseases like malaria, typhoid was also a problem because Africa is not, Nigeria as at that time was not well developed. In fact, it is also important to note that Mary Slessor died as a result of malaria illness that she contracted here in Calabar during her missionary days. Also, language barrier. Nigeria have diverse ethnic groups. They speak different language. Only very few people, as at that time, were or can speak English. So the Europeans, they also needed interpreters to interpret what the people are saying to them and to also interpret what they are saying to the people. So it was a problem for them. And that's why some of them took it upon themselves to learn the language. Just like Henry Towson, he learned Yoruba and ensured that he published a Yoruba newspaper. So there was a language barrier. Also, religious resistance. You know, the Christian missionaries, they introduced Christianity. And before their arrival, Nigeria was filled, the region now known as Nigeria was filled with traditional religion. So there were a lot of resistance from the traditional worshippers that, oh, you are coming, you are bringing in your foreign religion to us. So it wasn't easy to influence and convert the people to Christianity. Then also financial constraints. There was no enough money in order to carry out the day-to-day affairs. So these are the difficulties. Another difficulty is mode of transportation. Because at that time there were no cars, there were no lot of cars, there were no good roads, there were no motorable roads that can link from one region to the other. So most times they tend to trek or they tend to use other traditional mode of transportation. Impact. What are the impacts of Christian missionaries' activities? Number one is education. Apart from bringing their religion, they also brought education. Missionaries established schools that provided education to both children and adults. Also, health care, they ensure that they provide facilities for looking after the health of the people. Social change. Christian missionaries opposed some policies like slavery, human ritual, killing of twins, among others, because they feel that the practice was harmful. Also, religious landscape. Said it earlier that Christianity eventually became one of the dominant religions in West Africa. So these are the impacts, and also economic development. Missionaries introduced new agricultural techniques. They brought new crops and also supported the development of local industries and crafts. Okay, so practice question. This is a question of WAEC 2010. It says, identify any 3 advantages and 2 disadvantages of Christian missionaries' activities in Nigeria during the 19th century. Advantages. 1. Christianity was introduced in many towns and villages. In a lot of towns and villages. 2. Western education was introduced. Schools of different categories were established, and product of the school became teachers. They became nationalists, among others. Also, the missionaries encouraged the use of English language as the official language and lingua franca of Nigeria. Also, they helped the abolition of slave trade. Not only slave trade, they also helped for the abolition of killing of twins, human sacrifices, human ritual, among others. Disadvantages. Number 1, traditional religion declined as a result of the activities of the missionaries. Because a lot of people were converted into Christianity. This brought about a drastic drop of the worshippers of the traditional religion. They also discouraged the practice of some Nigeria cherished culture like dance, songs, system of marriage dresses, and this led to loss of interest in the culture. Also, they persuaded their home government to dispossess the people of their land for the building of schools. Yes, some lands were hijacked. They originally belonged to citizens. They were hijacked in order to build schools, churches on them, even with little or no compensation. 4, it led to conflict between the convert and the family members. Yes, as at that time, maybe in a family of 5. And one of them has decided to convert to Christianity. It led to issues, conflicts between family members. That, oh no, you can't do that. You have to practice my religion as your parents. So it led to conflict. Then lastly, it paved way for the imposition of British colonial rule. The Christian missionaries, when they were eventually accepted and they settled down, their activities paved way for Britain to come down to Nigeria to rule over us. Here ends today's class. I hope you have learned something today. Thank you for listening.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
If you have any observation, suggestion, or feedback, kindly contact us on any of the social media platforms displayed on the screen. Thank you.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.